Welcome back to All About Love, the podcast where we talk all about dating, healing, and attachment. Today, we are going to be diving into how we can use our love languages for better relationships. So, we're going to be going through each one. We're going to be talking about the pros and the cons of actually using them in the first place. And then we're going to be giving a brilliant way for each one of how we can demonstrate love through this, if this is our love language or if this is our partner's love language. So let's dive in, shall we, Carly?
Yeah, so shall I just start with like the 5 love languages?
Yeah.
Is a book, right? Dr. Gary Chapman, first published in 1992.
Yeah.
Not that I've got the facts in front of me. No, but according to Gary Chapman, so we each have this style of, or this language that we communicate love in ourselves. And if we know this style, if we know this language, it's going to help with intimacy, connection for yourself and for the other person as well.
Yeah, he was basically arguing that the issues he saw time and time again with every couple and in every country, so it wasn't just like Western specific, that there was a mismatch in communication between how couples wanted to be loved. So one person would usually feel undervalued or underappreciated or didn't feel seen or loved because their partner was trying to communicate in a different way than they understood. So he kind of argued by learning this and by getting into the swing of it, we can show and demonstrate and make our partners or dates or friends feel really, really valued. And as you said, build everything else.
I love that you mentioned friends.
Yeah, because it is. It's not just about, like, now there's books on the love languages if you're single, love languages for friendships, for family relationships. Like, there's so much. It doesn't just have to be about a romantic one.
And I reckon today, like, we just want to chat openly about the love languages. Perhaps, like, you already know about them a bit or you're brand new to it. But we really just want to think about, like, what they are. And like the pros and cons of knowing them.
So let's start. Obviously, there are 5 of the buggers, and we'll do. But let's start with words of affirmation.
Yes.
If your love language is words of affirmation, you really appreciate demonstrations of love through language. So to be told that you're loved, to be told that somebody's proud of you, to give somebody compliments, that's what they really treasure and they really value. So it's that kind of encouragement, that affirmation, that appreciation. So we feel great when somebody's actively listening or when somebody's telling us something they noticed about us that we've done really well, or
so
whatever
proud
that
of
might
you.
look like. But yeah, I genuinely like, so when somebody says they're proud of me, I'm like, ooh, got a little shiver. Yeah, I love it.
That's really interesting.
Remember that I can't stand to be criticised.
Yes.
So it's funny that my love language tends to be, my tendency is words of affirmation. So I don't know whether there's a link there, but like I love all the compliments, don't like to be told off.
Do you take a compliment well?
Yeah, I think so. I've got better. I used to like be able to not, or get like really embarrassed or shrug it off or say, oh, this dress, oh, it was 10 quid from blah, blah, blah. It's like, but yeah, I've started to just be like, oh, thank you, that's really kind to say.
That is worth like reflecting on, isn't it? Because I can imagine like sometimes we want that affirmation. We really need the compliments, whether that is for like our self-worth or whether genuinely that is just what lights us up. And then on the flip side, we can really struggle with like kind words and love because we don't tend to live in a world where you just say thank you and accept the compliment. We usually deflect and we usually say like, yeah, like you say this old thing. I remember a colleague, she used to she always had like a nice pair of trainers. And I remember this one time someone paid her a compliment about her trainers and she just said thank you. And I was like blown away.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you just have to say thank you.
Do you think we have an issue generally receiving love?
Yeah, I guess so. The thing is, we struggle to give it to ourselves because it's big-headed and it's all of those things, right? So I imagine that in some ways then accepting it is quite difficult as well.
Yeah.
And then in your case, where it comes down to like an individual matter of like you struggle with criticism and things like that, that I do imagine that there's more, there's nuances, right? But I just think it's really interesting with affirmation that there's potential that that's your love language and you love it and you need it. And then sometimes I think we can struggle to receive it.
Yeah, but it's always, for some reason, it's the I'm proud of you.
Is it?
Like and it's I'm proud of you for working hard. I don't know why.
Has anyone said that to you? Like, have you received that yet?
Yeah. Yeah, like Liam says it when I'm not
Really?
binge watching Desperate Housewives.
And does he know that you need that? Or he just said it once and then that you realised you really liked it?
No, I don't think he realises that I need it. But
really?
Yeah, but like, no, and then I was like, oh, thank you. It means a lot when you say that. And then obviously people say, he'll say it more.
Why do you think that is? It's about the working hard.
I don't know. I think it goes back to that belief I had that I'm lazy.
Okay.
That we've discussed at length.
So interesting.
But what's interesting is I don't really care when people write me cards.
Okay. You don't want a compliment in a card?
No, I don't want a compliment in a card.
That's really interesting that you link affirmation to cards, because I guess they do have that natural...
No, because I think in my family it's the thing where you have to write each other like really nice messages.
Is it?
Yeah.
My family is the opposite. We don't send cards, we don't send presents.
Yeah.
There's none of that.
No, like I do appreciate it. I'm thinking, God, what if my mum listens to this podcast? No, because she's always like sending me really cute notes and stuff. Like I do really appreciate that, but it doesn't like hit in the same way as hearing it out loud.
That's maybe because you're used to it, maybe.
Okay, what about physical touch? So physical touch is non-verbal, so you use your body language and touch to express love. People think that it's usually this one is about sex, and it's not.
It's like hugging, holding hands,
that
cuddling.
Intimacy.
So that's what it is. I was going to go straight into my own experience, but let's have a moment of being like, physical touch is more than sex.
Yeah, way more than sex. And actually, what I hear usually is men are like, oh, my love language is physical touch.
Or people assume.
Yeah, they assume it rather than actually thinking what you really need. I guess because sex is like an obvious physical expression, isn't it? Of caring about somebody.
And do you know what? I just realised is that, I mean, it's quite obvious, but just to like put it out there, that all 5 of these are important and we do need them all.
Definitely.
Right? So it's just a bit more, which one do you lean towards more? And with physical touch, on the flip side, it can be so uncomfortable. Like thinking of people's like, if we think of like really traumatic experiences, physical touch can be one that is just so difficult, and yet at the same time we need it. So I think there can be this with all of them, I'm sure, but this in between of it's something that we need. It's also something that we can be uncomfortable with. It's almost something then we crave a little bit if we didn't have it. So there's many layers to this.
Well, it's as I've got older, physical touch has become more important. So I like get people to play with my hair or like draw on my back.
Me and my sister used to draw on each other's back, and we would guess what we were drawing.
Yeah, I get Liam to do that.
Really? For as long as I can remember, I've always loved being tickled.
Yeah. Oh no, I don't like being tickled.
I love it. No, not
I
funny
think it's
tickled.
like this stroking.
No, not funny tickled. Not where it's like life or death tickle. I hate like the funny. Do you know the funny tickle? What I mean?
Like where tickling isn't like tickling from torture as well.
Yeah, well, it is. Like when people, just for our own personal experience here, I'm sure people can relate. I do not like it when, when people tickle your feet. Like,
oh no, not that.
That kind
like
of
tickling to hurt. Miserable.
Like you do it.
You want a
with
gentle
kids,
stroke,
don't you? It's like tickly, and it's like you can't stop them. And you're like, ah. So do you know what's really funny? Is me and my boyfriend. Obviously, this is us being funny, but we do have this thing, and it is physical touch, I guess, where we literally go to each other. So bad. Where we go torture. Some things should just stay at home, shouldn't they? But we go torture, and then we'll try to tickle each other. And then I said to him the other night, he like tried to do that, and I said, no babe, not at night time. And then we were laughing because it's like we've never said like No torture at night time. But that's the kind of tickling, where you can't stop the person, but they think it's funny. But I like
I
the
don't
really
like that.
light, delicate
Yeah,
tickling.
like the stroking. Gentle stroke. Massage is the dream.
Love that.
Okay, number 3. Receiving gifts.
Receiving gifts. My friend Laurie
Yeah.
always has a gift. Like,
For you?
for me, like pretty much every time.
So
She's got a bit
nice.
better in the sense of not every time now.
Yeah.
But I wonder if that's since she's had a kid. I'm not sure of the timing or whether she's just noticed herself. But she would always have a gift for me. And most of the time she had made it.
Oh, that's so thoughtful, isn't it?
That really. And now often when I see her, I will have a gift for her. And that's because I've learned love languages.
So when receiving gifts is your love language, it's not just buying something for you, it's more about the thoughtfulness and I guess making your friend or partner or whatever a priority through the kind of gift giving. And it can be something handmade, it could be a card, it could be something you found that reminds them of them. So I think it's far more about the thoughtfulness, isn't it? But it's a kind of object demonstration of, here, this is something I'm giving to you because I appreciate you.
I wonder if sometimes it is as, I guess this one has a bit more of a tendency that it could sound a bit more shallow. However, it's how we've learned languages. And let's say your parents worked a lot, and one of the ways that they made up for that to themselves was to buy you a gift, each weekend or whatever. These are just random examples. That to you then might be how you do experience love, like a gift, a pricey gift sometimes, who knows? But I think that that's fair to say.
Yeah, definitely.
Until you reflect on that, you might not realise.
Well, and for some people it's just more important, and that's fine.
We've been conditioned, I believe we've been conditioned, that if someone, especially this is like male-female dynamics, a guy buying flowers, that you've just found your Prince Charming. So I think there is some conditioning in all of these, but just that's what's coming to my mind with the gift giving. And I once asked my boyfriend to buy me some flowers because, I'd learned you can ask for what you need. He said, yeah, I'll buy you some flowers. He never did. But the next day, wait, no, I'm not kidding. The next day, so I think it was all around the same week. And I said one evening, I could like murder a Diet Coke right now.
Yeah.
And then the next day he brought home a Diet Coke.
Aww.
And I remember thinking, you know what? Who cares about the flowers? Like, I really want the Diet Coke. And I just put them on the same level that he had thought about getting me a Diet Coke. And that's the flowers.
What was it about flowers that you wanted? Why is it
conditioned to have flowers?
But it's because I buy flowers all the time, but I way prefer it obviously when Liam comes home with flowers.
You did buy me a plant for Valentine's Day that you got from Tesco on the way home from work.
Yes, that's thoughtful, isn't it? But do you think it's like it's the thoughtfulness, isn't it? It's the thoughtfulness. Somebody's thinking of you, so they're going to buy you something nice.
Yeah, but the weird thing is that the Diet Coke, and because I was able to recognise it doesn't have to be this exact thing, because I think sometimes we can get stuck on, I told them I know I'm sure we'll come to this, but I told them my love language and they still haven't done it. I told him I want flowers and he still hasn't done it. And then you miss all of the amazing things that they do.
Well, that goes back to, God, that podcast ages ago where we were talking about what makes a healthy relationship, the 5 to 1, isn't it? Where you start to notice the things that they're actually doing rather than focusing in on the negative and on the bad things.
That's a saviour for me, like noticing things that people are actually doing.
I need to get better at that. Okay, 4th one, quality time.
Yes.
Is this your one?
Yes.
Okay.
It is.
So quality time is where it's kind of, well, literally what it says on the tin, like uninterrupted and focused one-on-one conversations where it's not just about like sitting side by side necessarily on your phones watching TV. It's where that connection comes in, isn't it? It's about creating moments together.
Yeah. It's a difficult one because like quality time, even like if I'm thinking of long distance relationship, you still need to carve out that time, right, for however it is that you communicate with each other. It's that quality.
But that could be a FaceTime.
Yeah.
Like at a certain time where you both sit down, you focus on what the other person's saying, you catch up.
But what I was going to say about this one, which is where I think I'm going to complicate things, and maybe this just isn't true, But how do you grow a relationship without quality time? How do you have a healthy, happy
Mm.
relationship without it? So I'm not like saying, I'm kind of saying, yeah, it is my one, but of course it's my one because we need quality. Like,
Yeah.
if
Well,
I was to do a hierarchy,
you
I'd put
need
that
to
really far up there.
you need to spend time together.
Yeah.
But okay, with friends, maybe let's zoom out of a relationship with your mates. Would you rather never hear from them apart from the couple of hours you spend together every few months where like you chat, you do something fun, it's great, and then
Yeah.
you don't see them again? Or would you rather have more kind of constant texting?
So I listened to a Jay Shetty podcast
Mm-hmm.
ages ago. I've just remembered it, and he talks about it is quality over quantity.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, let's say you and I wanted to catch up, we're better off going out for dinner for 1 hour uninterrupted than me coming along to, I don't know, a party that you're throwing,
Yeah.
and we don't, and I'm just on my phone or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, actually, maybe that's not a good example, but it's something about like the quality over quantity.
No, I can definitely see that.
Some people would be like, they only stayed for an hour, but what if I stayed for an hour and I was there, I was present, I was grounded, compared to if I spent 3 hours there, and the last two I was a little bit resentful, didn't really want to be there, there's other things I want to be getting on with. Like, you're better off
Remind me not to
having
have any parties.
good quality time. But actually, I'm not going to give the details, but I was telling you something I was feeling guilty about over the weekend.
Yeah.
And perhaps it is that I was there for the quality, like,
Yeah.
important time. And then the next thing that I was like, I don't really want to be here.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been
I
quality.
felt guilty for not engaging with. It wouldn't have been quality.
Okay, well, let me change my question then. Would you rather see a friend for that hour where you have dinner, I don't know, once every 3 months, or would you rather see regular, really cute text where they talk about how proud they are of your work, how they watched your Instagram to do blah, blah, blah? Like, what would build it more?
I have quite a few long distance friendships,
Mm.
and so I'm going to go for the quality time
Okay.
because we don't talk like loads in between,
Yeah.
but we do have that quality time.
No,
What about you?
I would say with friends, probably quality time more,
Yeah.
just because I don't know, I think I've just got to an age where like replying to texts and keeping sane and doing my job and speaking to clients
Yeah.
and having a relationship and looking after the dog, sometimes I just forget.
Yeah.
And I also don't want to be stuck on my phone all the time. So I'm bad at texting.
And it depends, it depends on the day, right?
Yeah.
Like how much energy you've got. And just to throw another curveball in there with quality time, I do feel like there's this blurred line between the anxious attachment in me,
Yeah.
which can struggle with space, and so would say, oh, it's because I like to spend time with someone.
Yeah.
But actually also recognizing quality space apart. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
that's not saying that that's a love language or anything, but just to throw that in there, that if we perhaps do an episode, you know what, we're going to do an episode on how to enjoy time alone.
Oh, let's
And that goes
definitely
in,
do
yeah.
that. Well, I was going to say there's something interesting with quality time based on the fact that there has been a global pandemic and it's changed how everybody works, because now a lot of couples are working at home together.
Yes.
So they're always together, but it's not in a way that feels like quality. So how are people going to juggle? And I wonder how that is going to change relationships in the long term, because how it used to be was, you might work separately, have the evening together, have the weekend together, and then you retire. That's when you spend all that time together. But now it's kind of just like a long stretch, isn't it? And I do think you need time apart to keep things fun and interesting. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see if that changes relationships in the long run.
Then we have acts of service. So, acts of service, people are experiencing love when there's like those thoughtful actions, thoughtful things they do for you. And this can be things like chores.
Yeah.
It can be picking up, I don't know, something from the shops for you.
Yeah.
It's literally doing something for you, right?
It's like practical, it's like helping. So like they kind of want to know that you're with them, that you're partnered with them, you are helping them, you're supporting them. I find this quite interesting, especially like when it comes to like gender stuff. Whereas, because I know a lot of people who acts of service is really important because they're the ones who end up doing most of the chores and the practical
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a line where it's like, is that your love language, or actually does your partner just need to grow the fuck up and empty the dishwasher? Like, again, it goes back to basic standard. What is a basic standard? Like,
Yeah.
if you live together or whatever it is.
But is that
Funny
coming
one.
up? Do you feel like one of your love languages is acts of service, or do you feel like you're in need of Liam to do a bit more acts of service?
No, I'm good. Like, it's not about me, like, but to generalize a little bit, women do tend to end up doing more stuff. Like, when it was the pandemic, they worked full time, but they also ended up doing the lion's share of the house stuff, the looking after kids, all of that. So I think it's interesting just to see, is it a love language, or is it just being a grown up and needing some more support?
Yeah. Do you know what it is? Because I think part of the reason I'm pausing with that one is I think I'm kind of struggling to link. Maybe it's really not a love language for me, because I'm just thinking of someone who would say, oh, my love language is acts of service. They would probably be able to explain it in a really different way to us. Because I feel like the other four, perhaps we found a bit easier to relate to.
Well, my best friend's love language is acts of service, and she is very pragmatic. So she's always the one organising, booking holidays, sorting things out.
Quite the masculine.
Yeah, she just gets on and does it. So she feels so appreciated when somebody takes that off her shoulders and does it for her.
Yeah.
And it's the, oh, okay, I've got this. Don't worry, I'm going to organise this for you.
So if it was acts of service, is there part of that where the love language towards yourself would be to say no, to delegate, to not take on so much? I feel like that you could look at this with all of these, couldn't you? Like, where are they actually coming from? But ultimately, I guess one of the things to be aware of is the differences in love languages, right? That if yours is acts of service and that's how you see love, it's how you experience love, it tends to mean that's how you give love as well. And if it's not your partners or your friends, they might not see that really loving thing you're doing.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say with all of them. These are yours. So this is an easy way to like kind of figure out what your love language is without doing the quiz and stuff, is to look at what you do the most of with friends, with partners. Are you the one sending flowers on birthday, sending cards, like sending really lovely texts? Are you the one who's showing up, making plans? Are you the one who's booking the restaurant? Are you the one who's, I don't know, plaiting somebody's hair, giving them a massage? What are you doing to demonstrate your love? Because that tends to be what your love language is. But the conflict in communication comes when our partners or friends or whatever is so different to ours, because again, we'll miss the thing that they're doing. Like, if my love language was acts of service and yours was words of affirmation, I would show you that I really appreciated living with you by taking the bins out. You would show me that you really appreciated living with me by telling me.
I love living with you. But this is where there's...
But I wouldn't take that on because the words don't mean anything to me.
Yeah. But also I can kind of hear people being like, one is a lot more effort than the other. But it's not about that, right? It's about where this is coming from.
Yeah.
And our intention.
It's not about winning or losing. It's not about having to be the right one or making the most effort or seeing what people aren't doing. It's just about figuring out what you like, figuring out what your partner or your friends like, or your family, and seeing how you can improve your communication in that way.
And having that conversation over and over. Like, it's such a good conversation to have with your partner, but realistically, is everyone open to this? Like, not everyone's interested in this kind of stuff, for starters.
No.
But I do feel like, okay, there's this other element that's just coming to my mind, and it's this idea of, I've told my partner my love languages, I've tried to bring this up, and they still aren't, doing the thing. They're still not meeting me halfway.
They're not meeting my needs.
Yeah. But what if you can see them doing, in quotes, the wrong love language? It's like, I've told you mine's acts of service and you're still giving me affirmation.
I think it goes back to appreciating them for who they are and what they're doing. And it becomes whether it's a non-negotiable for you, right?
Yeah.
If you need to be told you're beautiful, you're loved, whatever, or if you need somebody to hold your hand all the time and cuddle you in public, and your partner doesn't have it in their capability to do that, is that a deal breaker for you? There's no right or wrong answer.
No, it's just for you to explore, right?
Yeah, but what you can't do is beat them over the head with it and try and make them something they're not, I think.
And I feel like it's really, there's something in this about it is okay to ask over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I never asked for those flowers again because I got that Diet Coke and was like, you know what? Like, I really see that. But if I really wanted the flowers, I don't have to go down the road of like, I asked him once, I'm not going to ask him again. If he cared, he'd know. If he listened to me, he would remember. Actually, if I really, really want the flowers and it would mean so much to me, I believe I would need to take another approach and be like, listen, actually the flowers would mean so much to me. And then if I really wanted them, and I know that this could be a bit controversial, that I message him and say, can you bring me those flowers today? But some people, they don't want to do the asking. I shouldn't have to ask.
Yeah.
Why should I have, it's like that, you're going to think of that film, like The Breakup.
Yes, did you see it on, I think it was on Instagram, wasn't it? The I want you to want to take the bins out. But I do get where she was coming from.
Like, you want me to take the bins out?
Yeah.
And I see that even in like, if you, this is all taken like quite a lot of work.
Yeah.
But if, I don't know, if I'm excited to go to this restaurant and my boyfriend's coming with me, great. It's not realistic to expect him to have the same excitement as me because this is something I'm excited about. And I think sometimes we can get lost and be like, but I want you to be excited. But I'm not, but I'm coming and I'm sure I'm going to have a nice time.
Breakup clip I'm thinking of. Again, I see it from, I mean, he sounded like a nightmare to live with, but it wasn't about the bins, it was about the appreciation.
Yes, it's always about it's never about the bins.
But the more you start to say to people, thank you so much, I really appreciate you for that, I really respect you for doing that, thank you, you know, oh, I saw what you did there, that really means a lot.
Yeah,
that goes a long way.
Yeah,
because people just want that
reward.
Yeah, or even just, you know, in your friendship group, right, there's always one who organises it. Imagine if you said to them, you do this all the time, I'll take that off your shoulders. Thank you so much for always being the organiser, but I'll book the restaurant this time.
But do you know why I don't book?
Why?
Is because the fear of people not liking it. So many layers.
Yeah.
But there's so many layers.
I know.
It's like, even if I think of like acts of service, let me think of words of affirmation. This woman in the gym the other day sprayed this perfume and it was so nice that I wanted to tell her. And I was like, oh no, I can't do that. It's embarrassing. And I literally paused myself and just said like, just say it. Just let the words come out. And I literally said to her, oh my God, that smells so nice. And then she was like, oh, thank you. And like showed me where it's from and everything.
Yeah. Everybody just likes to be appreciated, guys.
Exactly.
Shall we do quick fire tip for each of how you could demonstrate the love language if you think it's your friends or your partners?
Yes.
So words of affirmation. You could send an unexpected like note, text, or maybe card, or give them words of encouragement. See what the thing is that they're working on at the moment and praise them on it. Or, it sounds weird, but when I go to Aldi to do the food shop, I don't mind doing the food shop as long as when I get home, Liam's like, oh, thank you so much for doing that. That was a really big help.
Really?
Yeah. Because it just takes all like the resentment of going to the shops out of it.
Yeah. You want that.
Just the thank you. Sometimes a thank you, guys.
Goes a long way.
Goes a long way.
Physical touch.
Holding hands, showing physical affection, maybe offering to book them a massage.
Nice. Because I am thinking as well, physical touch, you get a lot of, I'm single, and this is my love language, and no one else can ever like match up to that. I'm not saying like a friend can or that you can yourself, but if you know it's physical touch, then you have to think outside the box.
Yeah, go get a massage.
Yeah.
Or get one of those head things. You know those
Yes.
what are they called? Those like head massages. I love them. I'm obsessed.
So I've got something coming to my mind of a client saying to me about how much more her partner did want that touch. And we did just have an agreement of like even just that minute of just allowing that and leaning in.
Yeah.
That can make it. A minute is a long time if you're just like cuddling.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Definitely. If your partner's or friend's language is receiving gifts, thoughtful gifts and gestures, I'd say. Small things go quite a long way. And also, if somebody gives you something, again, being really appreciative of it.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be something like really expensive. I do think we forget that sometimes.
Yeah. If I'd have come in with a Diet Coke for you.
Yeah, it's very thoughtful.
Yeah. I didn't, but maybe I'll do that next time.
I feel like, are you a gift giver?
No.
No, I don't know why I thought that. And do you know
I'll
what
get it.
else I think is quite useful? Is even if, say, if you're walking around TK Maxx, classic, it's got it's going to remind you of someone, just taking a picture of the thing and send it to the person that you thought of.
Saying,
if you're
I
a bit
think
like,
this
oh,
would...
can't really be bothered to buy it, or
Yeah.
you know, my budget or whatever, just be like, I just saw this.
Yeah. With my family, my brother and my mum like to be surprised with their
Really?
gifts at Christmas. So you've got to think of something thoughtful that they'd like. Whereas me and my sister will literally send a list of the things we
What
want.
you want.
Yeah.
Honestly, we don't do gifts really.
I'm not going to do gifts this year.
I'm terrible. I can't tell you how many years my New Year's resolution was to send cards. Do you know how many cards I find that have someone's name on them? Because sometimes I do. I think the problem I have.
How could you go to the effort of writing them and not sending them?
Do you know how much effort it is to buy a stamp? I think it's because.
Well, you mad? They sell them on Amazon.
Oh no, I'm talking like pre-Amazon times. I'm talking about like this. How long this has been a problem for me. Yes. They sell stamps on Amazon.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
We buy stamps on Amazon.
What, you order them to your house?
Yeah.
And they will send. So you pay for the stamps to come to your house.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
You don't have to go to the post office anymore, Carly.
No, but I'm just thinking like to pay for stamps to come to you, you're paying like double.
No, same price as usually the post office.
They send them to you for free.
It's Amazon Prime.
Yeah, no, wait, I've just heard what I'm saying.
You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay postage. I'm not ordering them from Royal Mail. A couple of my friends, so nice. They write thank you cards, and I wish I was that person.
I know. My friends, because I went to a wedding recently, two of them that got married before were saying that they still have half of their thank you cards at home, and now they've left it so long.
No, I think that's rude.
Okay, I'm not going to edit that out. Just in case they listen.
No, if somebody gets you a gift for your wedding, you've got to say thank you.
Do you? No, you're just putting weddings above anything. Because if I got you a birthday present...
Yeah, but even the people who didn't buy me gifts, I still wrote them a thank you card. Saying thank you for coming to the day, making the effort.
No, just as someone who's not married, I disagree.
Right.
Because I want a thank you card then for the birthday thing I sent. This is like...
What birthday thing?
My friends went through this period of buying everyone like these massive gifts that got engaged, that got married, that had babies. And there was me like starting my podcast and starting my business. And did anyone celebrate it? No. I was like, these are huge deals, like, but they're not getting celebrated in the same way.
Bitches.
I know.
Demand. Why don't you do a gift list for your podcast? Okay, quality time. The anniversary of your podcast, do a gift list.
That's 100 episodes is coming up soon.
There you go then. Maybe I'll send you a cupcake. Okay, so what can you do if you're somebody special to your love language is quality time? Well, I'd say take the time and the effort to like plan something together. You putting in the time to like make it special, do something thoughtful, make it just you and them, make it about them.
No phones.
No phones. Even if it's just a walk, like making a huge effort to stay present in their presence.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah, bit of alliteration there.
Yeah.
Okay, and last one, acts of service. So, empty the bloody dishwasher.
Breakfast in bed.
Yeah. Go out of your way.
To buy the milk.
Yeah, but just like think about what they do in a day and try and alleviate some of that.
No, it's true. So I was just thinking as well of when F came back with some coconut milk for me because that had run out. And it's these little things that maybe I wouldn't have
Yeah,
noticed.
yeah,
But that's an act of service. Maybe
yeah.
he's quite good at acts of service.
Maybe his is acts of service.
Yeah. I do think this is a bit of a harder one, acts of service, because it gets mixed in with chores and all the things that we said. But yeah, just do something. Take the load off them a bit.
Basically, guys, use love languages if you like them as a way to lean into like fun communication, making people feel loved, and deepen your relationships. If your partner isn't going to do it, isn't going to meet you there, it's not something to beat them over the head with. But take, I think, what has come up again and again and again is the idea of appreciation.
Yeah.
And that's all it is, really, isn't it? It's making sure your partner knows, or your friends know, or your family knows that they, or your podcast host knows that they are appreciated.
Yeah. Just think about how you can bring a mixture of them into your relationships.
Yeah.
Then you're bound to get something right along the line.
I know for the people like all of mine, my love language is all of them. Okay, so as always, please let us know one action point you're going to use to move this forward, whether actually it's just made you think about your communication in a slightly different way. What is one thing you can do to tell somebody that you appreciate them this week, or show somebody that you appreciate them this week, and how you're going to use it to move your dating, love, and friendships forward. So, as always, guys, please do let us know and message us on Instagram or drop us an email in the usual channels. And we are going to pop exciting things that come up on the show notes below. But we'll see you next week.